Some moments don't just happen, they unfold like they've been waiting all along, quietly, patiently, until everything around you feels like it's holding its breath. That night, I felt that stillness. The kind that tells you something's about to change, and there's no going back after it does. Before I tell you how it happened, make sure to like and subscribe, because what I'm about to share isn't just a story, it's a moment that stayed with me long after it ended. It started simply enough. The porch boards were still warm from the late summer sun, amber light stretching across the wood. I hadn't bothered to turn on the light yet, the twilight glow felt softer, more forgiving. There was a cardboard box sitting by the steps, the kind that didn't look important but somehow carried a quiet weight. He was already there when I stepped outside. Ethan. Worn jeans, a plain white t-shirt, and that familiar half-smile that always seemed to appear when he caught me watching him. He crouched near the box, brow furrowed in concentration like it held some secret worth knowing. I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms. "Since you're already down there," I teased lightly, "mind bringing that in for me?" Ethan looked up, his eyes glinting in the fading light. He wasn't annoyed, just curious. He didn't ask questions, just stood and lifted the box effortlessly. When he stepped past me into the house, his shoulder brushed mine, an accidental touch that somehow didn't feel accidental at all. The air inside felt different after that. Quieter. Warmer. He set the box down near the end table, glancing around like he didn't quite know where to stand. "Water?" I offered, trying to sound casual. "Sure," he said, his voice steady but soft. As I moved toward the fridge, I could feel his eyes on me, not in a way that made me uncomfortable, but in a way that made me aware. Aware of every motion, every sound, every breath. I handed him a glass of water, and when our fingers brushed, a small spark shot through me, unexpected, sharp, and gone in a second, leaving warmth in its wake. He took a sip, then set the glass down carefully. "Nice place," he said. "Thanks." I leaned against the counter, watching him. "You in a rush today?" He shook his head. "Not unless I need to be." The air between us thickened, quiet but charged. "You always hang around this long?" I asked with a small smile. He smiled back. "Only when I'm welcome." I didn't pull away. I didn't need to. The stillness between us said more than words ever could. He reached out, his hand resting on the counter just beside mine. We weren't touching, but we were close enough to feel the pull. His pinky brushed against mine, barely a movement, and yet my heart stumbled. "You haven't overstayed yet," I whispered. His eyes lifted to meet mine, and something shifted. He slowly took my hand, his thumb tracing gently across my skin. The gesture was so simple, so careful, it almost felt reverent. He lifted my hand slightly, pausing as if to make sure I wouldn't pull away. I didn't. Then, quietly, he let go. His other hand rested lightly near my waist. Not claiming, not demanding, just present. My pulse quickened. I could hear it in my ears, in the stillness that seemed to stretch around us. I touched his chest lightly, the soft cotton warm beneath my fingertips, and then let my hand fall again. "Would you mind closing the curtains?" I asked, my voice lower than I intended. He nodded once and moved across the room. The sound of the curtain rings sliding along the rod felt impossibly loud in the hush that followed. I touched the necklace at my throat, grounding myself in the quiet anticipation. When I turned around, he was there. Closer than before. The pendant slipped from my fingers. My hand lifted on instinct, resting near his collarbone. For a second, neither of us moved. Then his hand rose, cupping my shoulder in a touch that was steady, anchoring. And just like that, our lips met. It wasn't rushed or uncertain, it was soft, deliberate, the kind of kiss that asks a question and finds its answer without words. His hand slid gently behind me, not gripping, just resting. The world outside the windows seemed to fall away. When he pulled back, our foreheads stayed pressed together. That pause, right between what just happened and what might, felt endless. His eyes searched mine like he was waiting for permission, or maybe reassurance. He didn't need either. I nodded slightly, a silent "it's okay." He helped me down from the counter, his touch gentle, almost protective. We didn't step apart right away. We just stood there, breathing the same quiet air, both of us knowing something had shifted between us for good. We walked to the living room side by side, the floor cool under our feet. The couch waited, familiar and ordinary, but nothing felt ordinary anymore. We sat down, our shoulders brushing. The silence stretched, but it wasn't uncomfortable, it was full, rich, alive. He looked at me, a small smile forming. I smiled back. My hand found his, and for a long moment, we didn't speak. There was no need. Every unspoken thought was right there in the warmth of his palm, in the way his thumb moved slowly across my skin. The house was still. The world outside was still. But inside, everything had changed. Because sometimes, the quietest moments, the ones without words, without explanations, are the ones that stay with you forever. That night wasn't about what we did. It was about what we understood. About seeing someone completely, and being seen in return. And once that happens, there's no pretending you didn't feel it. No going back to the silence that came before.